Oh, right. Oh, okay. So I am starting. And we are live. Okay. So out there in virtual world, please let me know that you can see or hear me. That would be terrific. And this is December 18th, the second to the last Sunday of the year. So let's just think about ourselves and that, like it matters. But we'll pretend like it does. And so I welcome you, whoever joins, and we are waiting, and we are waiting. Clee and Market, all right, okay, so lovely, hello, lovely world to you too. So you two are the winners. If you would like me to do spiritual mind treatment work, just let me know and I will do that work for you. Okay, so off we go. Let me just fix this a little bit so I can think I see stuff. Okay, good. All right, spiritual mind treatment. Obviously, clarity is needed, right? Okay. So this word is being spoken for each one, and anyone you would like to have included, just think of their name now and know that this word also includes them. I recognize right now a mind that is thinking now of this entire universe and everything in it. This mind is infinite, it is intelligent, and it is powerful. And it is something that knows. And what it knows is what it thinks about. And it knows what it thinks about and creates it. Call it God, life, divine mind, call it love. Whatever you call it, it becomes. Because it is infinite. And there is nothing that could be thought of that is not being thought of by this infinite mind. So, clarity is present right now. This infinite mind is contemplating something now with such clarity that every single detail necessary for its formation, creation, and expression, as well as its interaction with everything else that already is. This is what is known with crystal clarity, every detail. And so the capacity to think with this crystal clarity exists in this mind. And this is the mind that each one is using. And so no matter how well thought one believes their thoughts are, or how much order or harmony or focus one believes one has, there is always a possibility for more, for greater clarity. Clarity of truth, of that truth, when known, that instantaneously demonstrates, manifests as something in the world. But also that experience of growing clarity that moves one wherever he or she is into a whole new, easier experiencing of life. And so each one is now inviting this mind that knows all to bring into each one's conscious awareness a sequence of thought that is moving each one into greater and greater clarity. The divine order is in order, and each one is inviting the divine order to order one's thoughts, to settle in the thinking of each one every idea that is there. So whether it be a list of things that must be done, or projects that, or responsibilities that are present, or whether it's just an answer to a question such as, what is my life about? Whether it be cosmic thoughts or trifling details, this mind is bringing to each one now its order and its clarity, so that each one is able to think with the clarity that is possible in this infinite mind. Each one is able to know who he or she truly is, what is important to them. And each one does have access to the capacity to see what is possible, the quality of divine light that sees what is possible, so that this crystal clarity that is ordering all the thoughts and all that is present in each one's world is also the clarity that brings into each one's eyesight that vision of what is possible for tomorrow and for next year and on. And so each one, in inviting this greater clarity of thought, is clear about where he or she is, and is clear about who they are and what is important, and is seeing now the vision of what is possible, that which has never been seen. So it is only divine light that can bring into each one's awareness that which has never been seen. And yet, each one has that ability to see it because it exists, it is alive. That infinite mind is always seeing that which it shall create. And it is always creating that which is and preparing and creating the next, so that everything that is in the mind of God, a preparation of what is to be. And so this whole capacity to be in order, harmony, and clarity with perfect focus here includes the increase of what is here into the future, into allowing for the divine reality that what is present today is the step of the stepping stones leading each one into a greater, larger, happier future. And so each one, in inviting this clarity, is also inviting the clarity of truth. The truth that sets each one free. The truth that fulfills the soul's longing. So whether it be for a healing, or for an answer, or for a resolution of a problem, or for an opening, a freeing up in some area, a dissolution of a barrier or a belief. This clarity with the divine vision reveals to each one the greater truth that sets them free, that provides the answer, that opens the doors. That the spiritual truth is that there is always a way to get from wherever one is to wherever one desires to go. And that includes healing on all levels. There is always a way. It also includes a changed consciousness, from moving from thinking little, small, filled with fear, regret, anger, to a consciousness of love and joy and freedom, and realizing that with God all things are possible. And to realize that for each one, what is possible for him or her is right here, right now, and that whatever good is here now is just the beginning. That right now each one is made fresh, brand new. That right now, that which each one is and its extension into the future is far greater than the sum total of all that has gone on in the past, even if it is multiple past lives. All of that is irrelevant to the power of the now, of the light showing the vision of what is to be, the power of realizing I am a creator. And in identifying with that creative faculty of this infinite mind, each one is now the power of what is to come in their lives. And so each one is now thinking with crystal clarity that which he or she desires to have created, that which one desires to participate, that which each one desires to become, the change, even in a personality, even changing the so-called stars that one has been born under, changing the genes of what has been inherited, that the power of something new, unprecedented, exists right now in this infinite mind, so that each one is realizing and experiencing that whatever he or she can conceive, this mind can achieve. It is not possible to think any thought whatsoever that this infinite mind could not create. And so each one is daring to claim the creation of the good thoughts that he or she desires to experience, to claim it and to demand it to be created and to stick to its vision, so that each one is being a consciousness that facilitates and co-creates that which shall be in their lives. So this is the focus, the clarity, and the goodness that is available to each one, just because there is a mind and each one is a thinker using this mind. And that is the way it is. I am grateful that this is truth. I'm grateful for the clarity which has already been received, and I am even more grateful for the greater clarity that shall be received this day and ever onward. I let it go to the law. It is done, and so it is. Okie dokie. All right, Reverend Rich, take us away. I caught him by surprise. I'm sure I was shorter than usual, right? Usually I just go on and on. Okay.
I can usually hear the clue.
You can usually hear
coming to an end. But
And so let's take a moment and get clear about what we are opening to. And so I always like to check in with my heart, because the heart is the presence of guidance within us. And so checking in with my heart, I claim the reception, the fulfillment of that which is in that heart. And so I am open to it. I am wide open, receptive, agreeable. And if there's anything that I need to do to allow that good to unfold into my life, I am flexible and willing to do it. So let's do that practice now. And so it is.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
Good morning. Let's get clear about what we're opening to, as Reverend Karen just said. I'm Jon Heron. I am a licensed practitioner here with the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. And we are a loving, healing, and inclusive community which teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for the well-being and spiritual growth of ourselves and the world. And I always, when I come up here to to do the welcome, I think, well, what is it that we're welcoming ourselves to? What is it that we're opening to? Well, some of the things we're opening to have been very much on my mind, the World Peace Meditation that will be doing on the 31st of December at 7 o'clock in the morning, because this is a global peace meditation. People all over the world at exactly the same time are doing this wonderful peace meditation that was initiated by John Randolph Price. You will find on our Facebook page the link for the Zoom connection, and you can log in and be part of this wonderful global peace meditation. And when I think of what we're welcoming ourselves to, I've been really thinking about this peace meditation, which starts off in the beginning, period. In the beginning, God. So the beginning of everything is that one spiritual truth, the source of all of us. That's what we're welcoming ourselves to. Every moment, we can choose to be conscious that it's a beginning, and that's God. And so this is what we do on December 31st, and we would love you to join us. And on January 1st, we have our annual Burning Bowl ceremony, which is a wonderful opportunity. If you've never done it, you get a piece of paper on which you can write down all the things you want to let go of from the previous year. And it's what's called flash paper, which burns really quickly. And so we throw it into a little fire and it burns up. And it's a way of connecting with, I really want to let go of this. I'm just going to burn it up now. And then on January 8th, we're writing our letter, our annual letter to our future selves, which at the end of 2023 will be mailed back to you. And during the whole year, practitioners will be praying over this, whatever you put into it, and you write it as if it's the end of the year and you've received these things this whole year. So it's a pretty wonderful little exercise that can keep you connected for the whole year. So please come here to this place and join us for writing the letter and for doing the burning bowl ceremony. I'm not quite sure how that works virtually, but we'll figure it out. So I was thinking again, as I said, when I have the opportunity to do the welcome, I think about what is it that we want to be welcome to, all of us, right? And I happened to be reading this morning this wonderful thing that Ernest Holmes wrote. It's in the Ernest Holmes papers. I believe love is the greatest healing, motivating power in the universe, because love is givingness. I don't think you will have a good, effectual prayer or preacher or practitioner or human being without great love. It is the only thing that unbinds the captive, penetrates the prison wall of obscurity, and sets the captive free from the prison of his own creation and his own undoing. So here we are, and this is what the science of mind welcomes us to, what our practice welcomes us to. The presence of love, right? For all of us and for each of us. And for creating the presence of love in the world, in our world, and in the world at large, right? Because what we know is our thoughts have power, and they change. Well, when we're really lined up with those thoughts on a deeper level, that's what appears in our lives. So that's what we're welcoming ourselves to, all of us, right? Can you imagine if all of us really connected with that? And I suppose all the people here and many of the people watching, we practice that every day, right? Connecting with that place of love. I know for myself, I think, oh, I've got to do my spiritual practice. I've got to, if I forget it one day, I think, oh, I did something wrong. Well, it's not about that. It's about really connecting with the love that's present. That's one of the things in this teaching that I love. It's not that we're trying to create something that isn't there. It's there, 100% right here, right now, in every moment. Are we allowing ourselves, are we letting go of the things that block us from experiencing it? And when we do in our own lives, that's what appears in our world. And can you imagine, if we really all did this on a regular basis, we would be changing the world. So that's a pretty wonderful thing, and that's what we're welcoming ourselves to. And so thank you so much for joining us. The more we bring this consciousness, the more healing and truth and love we bring into the world. So thanks.
Thank you, John. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. Gonna shout it out. I understand now what I'm here for, and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smile. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about action, it's about taking the chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a much deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking the chance. It's about love, it's about service, so lending a hand. It's about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide doors for this heart of mine.
Hallelujah!
A rousing number.
Thank you, Reverend Rich. That was awesome. Good morning, everyone. I'm DeeJah Wynter. And this morning I have a super treatment that I'm going to read to you. It's chock full of the laws of the universe, all kinds of goodness, bringing in, releasing. And so it's about 7 minutes, so I'd like you to just close your eyes if you like. Let's take a deep breath. Let it out. Allow the chair to support you. And I'm reading this truth for you. And it is for you. I am one with God and the universe. His nature I express. Fully conscious of the cause of my being. His life I live in the seen and the unseen. My daily needs are omnipresent as a result of living his life. My offenses are forgiven because they are forsaken, and because I have forgiven all others. The spiritual life I live has freed me from all evil and lifted me above all worldliness, because the power I am one with and express is omnipresent in all and over all. I place myself and all my affairs lovingly in the hands of the Father, with a childlike trust, knowing that which is for my highest good shall come to me, and lo, my own has come to me. Sensing the allness of God, leaving out all traces of personality, will permanently remove all difficulty from my path. I rest in the sea of universal consciousness. The energy is good. I am one with it. I am a part of it. I am it. Let us be still and know we are immersed in an infinite presence. This presence is within us, overshadowing us and surrounding us. Its presence, the infinite spirit whom we call God, the divine intelligence, the architect who created us, that he may use us to glorify himself through us as us. He created each one in his image and likeness with love and wisdom. Each one is his child. He created everyone within the sound of my voice in his image and likeness of love and wisdom. They are his children. And because that which is equal to the same is equal to each other before God, we say, God, take over. Let the action of the infinite spirit now dissolve every condition in our minds, in our bodies, in our affairs, bringing into our experience divine harmony and divine right action in everything we do this day, under grace and in a perfect way. There is one mind, one law, one principle, one substance, and each one is one with all there is. I am wiping out from our subconscious mind all negatives, even those negatives of which we are not aware. Wiping out bitterness, misunderstanding, resentment of human behavior, guilt, and fear. Instead, I am placing in my subconscious mind, in our subconscious mind, beauty, compassion, unity with my Creator, God, unity with my neighbor, contentment, understanding, faith in God, faith in my neighbor, faith in myself. My desire is expanded consciousness, the ability to see God in all men, in every condition, in every situation. This is my God, my good, as spiritual begin. I place myself and all my affairs lovingly into the hands of God, into the cradle of love, knowing that God is life, God is mind, God is truth, God is love. God is infinite spirit in whom I have been made and can never be separated. God is the only power, God is the only presence, God is the only light, God is the only peace. The peace of God is now exuding from our souls. The light is on our pathway. The power is flowing from our minds, taking us from mansion to mansion in our Father's house, where the answers are. So we believe, we accept, we trust, knowing that in consciousness, the presence of God is within us. It is a source of our supply. The God mind within us is a center of divine operation, bringing from the fourth to the third dimension on which we function, expanded consciousness. Thank you, Father. And in the name of Jesus, we affirm, God is the only presence, power, and action in our lives and affairs this day. God is the only presence, power, and action in our lives and affairs this day. God is the only presence, power, and action in our lives and affairs this day. God is the only presence, power, and action in our bodies. This presence is life. This life is good. This life is our life now. Our bodies are the temple of the living God. They were created and are maintained by the one power, the one action, through our physical beings. We wipe out all fear of pain, congestion, confusion, inaction of the body, and we affirm God is the love and wisdom in our brains. God is the intelligence constituting through our minds. God is universal life energy circulating, assimilating, eliminating old growths from our bodies, our intestines, our stomach, our blood, vitalizing and energizing our lungs, our heart, our liver, our kidney, our bladder, every gland in our body, our thyroid, pancreas, prostate, and adrenaline glands. Renew them with vibrant young cells. We give thanks for the infinite spirit circulating through every cell of our bodies. We do give thee thanks for health in our bodies, abundance in our experience, strength and joy to do your work this day, as we unite ourselves with thee now and always. Just take a deep breath. Come back to the present moment and let me know this truth for each one. Ah, our favorite. There is one divine clarity. There is one supreme intelligence, one infinite love. It is all God. The all good of God is operating in, through, as, and around each one, allowing each one to experience the power of co-creating, the power of mindfulness, the power of conscious awareness, each one co-creating his, her, or their lives with intention. With intention. And so, as each one drinks in the spiritual power and illumination of this service today, each one is even more empowered to move forward to build a life that each one loves completely. Each one is guided by the greatest power that there ever was, is, and will be. And so each one tunes into this power to co-create this amazing life. This word is the truth. It is released into the great law of mind action, God's loving law. We are so grateful that it is so. And we say, and so it is.
Shortest day now, winter has come, nature is sleeping, and the work is done. The fire is warm now, the snow I see, this time is for renewal. So put your cares to sleep. Don't be afraid that the sun won't shine. The grace of spirit keep the lazy mind. For with the guidance of the universe, night turns into day, and our fears about tomorrow God takes away. With peaceful affirmation of warmer days to come, with sacred celebration that God and we are one. Sometimes we're planting the latest 50. We wish for the future. It's how we plant the seed. Don't be afraid that the sun won't shine. The grace of the Spirit keeps us in mind. For with the guidance of the universe, man turns into day. And I feel about tomorrow God takes away. For with the guidance of the universe, night turns into day. And I feel about tomorrow God says away. And I feel about tomorrow God takes away.
That's tomorrow.
Shortest day of the year. 21st? Today's the 18th. Got a couple days
Close enough.
before it hits, right? Hello, Craig, out there from Thailand. And hi, Debbie. Deborah Taylor's out there. Okay, good to see you all. Well, today is the second to the last Sunday of the year. And I know, I'm like filled with all these things I have to do, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that this Sunday is a good time for me and maybe for you to take stock of this year. And so the title of this talk is, It's Not Over Until You Say It's Over. You decide when it's over. You decide when you've received your demonstration. And so what I'm inviting all of us to consider is maybe we say it's over too soon. Maybe we give up. One of the things that the teachers of the Science of Mind have said is the hardest thing about practicing this teaching is to keep on keeping on. We give up. And there's a lot of complementary ideas out there, positive thinking ideas out there that have come up with some palliatives when you think you're not going to get your demonstration. And so people say things like, oh, it wasn't meant to be. And what I invite us to consider is that's not true. I was going to say something else, but I'm being broadcast around the world. Well, BS, right? Because it's just not true. We need to realize how much a cause of the events in our lives we are. I went back to Genesis, the very beginning, creation. We're talking about creation. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And then God said, it's good. That's saying it's over. Done. Let it go. And so we want to be very aware when we say it's done. Because one of the subtle ways of saying something is over is we withdraw our attention away from our demonstration that we desire. We just change our minds, or we just forget about it. So at the beginning of this year, we all wrote a letter to our future selves. We've done it every single year I've been here. So this is like the 26th or the 27th year coming up, and we will be writing another letter. And I've been thinking about my letter lately because one of the things that I have put in that letter, I think at least 10 different times over the past 15 years, is to fully embody the technique, the process, whatever, that's called getting things done, as created by David Allen. a fellow minister of mine had gone to a workshop with David Allen. I was spending a weekend with a bunch of them, and he mentioned it, and I'm like, yeah, I got to get that book. Got that book, and started to implement it. I went to a couple of his workshops myself, and fully implementing it just always escaped me. And I think he admits that few fully implement it. But he would always say, if you do, you won't believe the freedom you experience. We have another person out there, Marie Kondo. And Arlene, if you're out there, you know who I'm talking about, right? She is, I believe, Japanese, right? Person who wrote a book and has been working with people on how to create an environment that only includes what brings them joy or what they need. Like a vacuum cleaner might not bring you joy, but you need it. So what she has said is only that you can phase this particular process in, but only until the very last thing that does not bring joy, spark joy in your life, is removed from your house, will you understand what this consciousness is about. She's describing a consciousness of freedom, of joy. And so for us too, when the start of a creative process is a desire in our heart, and we know when it's satisfied, because when it's satisfied, everything in us is changed. I just got to chill, right? But until then, we have a mental, emotional, psychological, physical experience of like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. The tendency is good. Da, 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 da. But the revolutionary overhaul that is the fulfillment of our heart's desire requires us to stick with it until we get it. So pretty good and good enough is not going to give you that feeling. And only when you've completely demonstrated something and embodied it, which required you to really change, to know that what the past was will never happen again. Not because it's not possible or because the world has changed, but because you've changed and you know it can never happen again. That's the kind of demonstration that I like, and I'm looking forward to having more of it. And the reason why I'm talking about this particular aspect is because this year I fully embodied getting things done. And I'm telling you, I think that there were probably at least like 15 different behavioral changes I had to embody in this journey. That personality changes, and the way I looked at things had to change. And over a year ago, I remember I really, let me put it this way. Every year when I asked the divinity within me, what behavior can I activate, start in my life that will really change everything? What I have received is fully embodied getting things done. And so I'm like, okay, I'm working at it. And so over a year ago, I realized, I said, the one thing I need now to really fully embody this, somebody has to design an app to handle these lists. Getting things done is about getting things out of your head and putting it all on lists. So to manage the list, someone's got to create an app. Well, they did. I don't know how long it took me to find it, but this year I found it. As soon as I found it, it was like, ta-da! I began implementing it, and from that point on, my life has been such a completely different experience. Peace of mind, freedom of choice, continuously. I'm able to continuously update, be on top of things. Now, this does not mean that I actually do all that has to be done. That's a different consciousness. This is that I fully embodied his system, his process of handling all the things to be done. And I get it. He keeps saying, because I still watch YouTube videos of him talking, and he says about himself, I am the laziest person in the world. So he thought about how he thinks and made it easier for him to be lazy. So he created this system, and he would admit that, yeah, it's sometimes it's rough for me to keep up with it. Well, somebody's got an app now, so now it's easy. But you have to have the consciousness. He's of a Buddhist tradition, and so he calls it having a mind like water. A mind that isn't reminding you of what needs to be done. A mind that's not being hounded by all the things by your commitments that you're not paying attention to. A mind that knows what you've committed to, what you have to do, and is free to choose to do something that you've got to do or to do nothing. And this app actually has a little thing each day. If you accomplish what you decided you wanted to do that day, it says, you're free. You're done. Enjoy your day. It actually says that. I'm like, whoa, that's nice. Even though I usually reschedule everything to tomorrow. It's choice. It's still there. It's not forgotten. So I know that people who have taken Marie Kondo the whole way, that's what they're talking about. It's about not giving up until you get your blessing. Jacob, right? Wrestling with the angel. The angel's beating the guy up, and as he's getting beaten up, his muscles are lengthening and more sinewy, and I don't even know what that is, but he's being changed until the battle stops, and then there he is, a new consciousness. And so that's what we have in this teaching, that capacity to demand fulfillment until we know we've got it. Until we know that will never happen again. Decades ago, when I first came in this teaching, I was totally living in an experience of a horrible, horrible workplace and being overlooked, taken for granted, perhaps abused, stressed, hating it. Couldn't wait till Friday. Every Sunday night, I remember dreading. My whole Sunday was ruined because I'd be dreading Monday. That's the consciousness I had when I came into this teaching. And I wanted to be rid of it. And so, after a number of years in this teaching, I finally decided to quit my job. I was a banker at the time, and become an actress. But I knew it wasn't about being an actress. It was about being free of whatever I was being that was allowing me to be punished and abused and battered in the workplace. And so I knew that. So I never really, got that successful as an actress, but boy, I had fun, true. But then, at a certain point, maybe 10 years later, I was guided back into the workplace. It was the last job I held before I came here. And I was being divinely guided to go back into an office, into the workplace. And I'm like, all my acting friends were like, are you crazy? You're going backwards. And I'm like, no, this is different. I'm being guided to go back. And I know I have unfinished business there. I know I'm not done, because what I needed to experience was being in that environment with a different consciousness, the consciousness of love. And what would that look like? Well, I did it. And the job was boring, and it was demanding, and hours on hours of it, and my superior was completely unreasonable, and I truly floated through that experience. I didn't feel the love, but I practiced loving. I practiced the consciousness of love. To love my life completely was my consciousness goal. And I stayed there. And the it was as a minister consciousness. I didn't realize that at the time, but I decided to make the company my client. And I was treating for them, and I was loving them, no matter how I was being treated. And I got really good at it, and they really did very, very well while I was there. And I grew so much in the consciousness of love, and that I am cause to my experience, and I learned so much from it that I was lifted up out of it. So I didn't have to quit to be away from it, and it's all their fault, and I'm never going to be in that environment again. I actually could go right back into that environment, and the whole environment changed because I was there. I was there. I was there. So as we write these letters to our future selves, we're going to be getting them back in a week or so. I'll mail them out next Monday. You'll get that letter, you'll look at it, you'll see how well you did. I can't wait to see mine because I know it will say, fully embodied, getting things done. And I'll get to go, check, done, I did it. The freedom, the joy of achieving that demonstration. 15 years I worked on this. But it was worth it. And I loved who I was growing into, every bit of it. This is always our option. I don't care what desire you've had in your life, how long ago, that you've given up on. It's not over. If you say it's not over. Now, you all know that I became a dancer the past few years. Well, that was one of those opportunities as a child that passed me by. I wanted to be a ballerina, but events happened and it didn't happen. Well, it's not over until I say it's over. And so somehow, a number of years ago, I was guided to go to a dance studio that had adult classes. And by staying there, a wonderful experience. And I remember eventually I was a part of the ballet class. And I performed a little ballet dance in the dance recital. 16 years I was with this studio. And this summer, the teacher retired, closed the studio, sold everything, sold the building, gone. Everybody's dispersed. And I knew when it happened, I had the thought, wow, nowhere else am I going to find a teacher, a studio, someone who's going to give me these kinds of opportunities to perform. That would be me saying, it's over. And so I heard that thought and I thought, well, let's not say never again. Maybe something can open up. And I went to a different studio, and this past weekend, when all of you were here having a wonderful giving thing, I was given this gift of being in the Nutcracker ballet performance, but it was even better. I didn't have to dance. I just got to be, this crazy parent on stage. And it was everything I wanted to do. There was no stress, no lines to learn, no song to sing, just be myself and just enjoy myself and enjoy all these unbelievably fabulous ballerinas and ballet dancers all around me. It was an experience beyond anything I could have imagined at the other studio. And it fulfilled my heart, right? It's about your heart. What fulfills your heart? Years ago, 9 years ago, well, actually, DeeJah, weren't you the one who did the treasure map? I always think it was you, and you keep saying, no, it wasn't me. Well, one of our practitioners did a workshop in creating a treasure map, and I created one, and it's still in my bedroom closet. Pictures of all these images of what I would like to be. And one of them was a picture of four women rowing in a boat. And that went on my wall years before I joined a rowing group at Carnegie Lake. And I participated in that group for a season. I've been a member ever since, but we had to become coxswains. And for those of you who are around this summer, you know I had a terror about being a coxswain. Well, I know. Last year, this time, when I wrote my letter to my future self, I thought about what is incomplete in my life that still is bothering me. And I thought, this whole rowing thing has got to be resolved. And if I need to learn how to be a coxswain, then so be it. And I wrote it down, that my rowing involvement is resolved. That that icky feeling I had about myself and incompleteness I had in myself is resolved. So this year, a different club, out of the blue, decided to offer later in the day rowing groups available. Never happened before. It's always been 5:30 in the morning. It's like a thing out there. But they decided to offer something later in the day. And I was gently guided to discover it. And I became a part of it. And in the fall, an opportunity opened up and for early morning rowing, and I didn't have any dance, and I said, you know, I'd like to try to learn how to be the coxswain. And so they taught me. They taught me enough to take away my fear. I'm no good at it, and I haven't really learned everything, but I'm not afraid. If I show up and they say, hey, you're the coxswain today, I'm like, well, so be it. Everybody suffers along with me, but the embarrassment, the angst in me, it's no longer something withholding me from this tremendous good. And since I wrote that, this other club has been offering these different programs midday, which is when I want to do it. So see, there are no missed opportunities. The consciousness that decides you're going to stay with your desire until it is fulfilled will create a new, unexpected, unplanned, never before seen opportunity. If, dance is just the thing of little kids and here you are, 60 some years old or whatever, and you want to dance, then you decide, well, that's it. I want to dance. Now, divine, show me the way. And if necessary, opportunities will be created by other people, and you just get guided to it. Years ago, I wanted to be part of a group that does improvisational work, and from it, we create comedy sketches. I had an experience of it, and I thought, wow, this is great. I would like to do this. I'd like to explore this. And a teacher that I had at the time, at the last class, said, I've decided to do a little group where we meet and improv, and then we write a comedy sketch from whatever is funny, and then I'll produce it somewhere in Manhattan. And everybody in the class said, yeah, they'll be a part of it. And then the first class that showed up, no one else in the class came but me, and all these other people were there. A full class. And that's what we did, is we improvised until we found something funny. Someone was assigned to write the sketch. I wrote a bunch of the sketches, and then we performed them somewhere in Manhattan for as long as I wanted to do it. And then I remember at a certain point going, I'm complete. It is finished. And the whole thing dissolved. They didn't go on and keep doing it. They all said they wanted to, but they didn't. Was it me? Yes, it was. Because it will be you too. It is you too. What you need to realize is nobody else is doing it. So few people, right, are sticking to the fulfillment of their desire. Friday night, I got to usher at the grand opening of Joy, the musical, about joy, Mangano, I guess her name was. She was the creator, the inventor of the miracle mop. So it's based on her story, and she was there. I got to get out of her way when she needed to find her seat. I was the usher. Get out of her way. I didn't know who she was, but anyway, she was there, and I got to participate in this phenomenal experience, plus see her story. And her story was, she was broke, lost her job, her family relationships were a total disaster everywhere you looked, and she just fell apart at mopping her floor. And all she thought was, couldn't something be easier? Instead of getting down to wring out the mop, couldn't this be easier? And then an idea for how to design the mop came to her, and she did it. Well, it wasn't easy, but she did it. And there were a whole lot of people who said no. But she would almost go along with them saying, it's done, it's over. And something in her, that desire in the heart, would go, try one more time, now, just keep going, just keep on. And so there's great inspiring music about keeping on, if you like that kind of thing, which of course we all do. So I recommend the show. But what we want to take out of this is, I am the one who decides when it's over. And even if you did decide something was over, but years and years ago, it didn't leave your heart. Didn't leave your heart. And if it didn't leave your heart, you can say it's on again. It's certainly not going to look the way that you planned it years ago. It's certainly not going to be the opportunity that you thought you wanted way back when. But it will be something totally new, and it will fulfill that desire in your heart. It might be done in a day. It might be done in a year, or like me, 15 years. But you decide when it's over. You decide when to give up. I mean, yes, I have many things on back burners. I haven't given it up. It's in limbo. It's incubating. It's incubating. Or I'm working on a consciousness that's necessary for that. But I'm working on it on different projects. But at some point, I'm going back to that, right? Do you have any things about your life that you are thinking you'll reactivate that at a time when you're readier for it than you are right now? You can do that. I can do that. I'm going to do that. I am doing that. It's not over till it's over. Even Jesus on the cross, I think of him. He said very few things that are recorded. He's hanging there. But at a certain point, he said, right? It is finished. Last thing he said. That suffering hanging there on the cross was over, but not his life. Because see, he had that project, right? Eternal life. And he demonstrated that. That was his goal. So what we want to be really clear about is, because the whole thing begins, the whole thing begins, the creative process begins with the divine wanting to create something. That's before we even get involved. The divine wants to create something. And so it creates a creation through which that something it wants to create can be created. That's us. And how do we get used by the divine desiring to create something that created us in order to create it? Is we feel it in our heart. It's a desire. So every single desire we have in our heart, oh yes, everyone, even that one, Karen, every one of them came from the divine, because the divine desires to create it through us, and that's why we got created. However, it's not the way we think. So our problem is we think, I want to be happy. I remember when I decided to become an actress, which was way before I quit my job to become an actress. But I decided to become an actress because I wanted to be creative. And I felt like my banking job and my budgeting and economist work, whatever, it just wasn't creative. And it's a lie. It's a total lie that it was not creative, but I didn't know that. So I quit my job and became an actress and then a comedy sketch writer and then, opera singer, all these other things, because I wanted to be creative. But when I developed the consciousness that I am creative, studying in this teaching, eventually I realized, boy, I am creative. I'm creating my life. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, because whatever I'm doing, I created it. And so we are, whether we are aware of it or not, agree with it or not, or participate or get the value out of it or not, we are creators. And it starts with that desire in your heart, which has the full backing and support of the universe. All it needs is us to accept it and to be willing to be changed by it in ways we don't want to be changed. And to stick with it when we don't want to. Because we're bored, because we're tired, because we're depressed, because we're disappointed, because we're sad, because we think, oh, it's not meant to be, or that person over there said that it's not for you, or whatever the doctor said, blah, 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 whatever. No, if it's in your heart, it is still something the divine wants to create using you. And you decide, we get to decide when it is good. So, it's still 2022. I don't know what you had in your letters, but it's not over until you say it's over. And so we get to write some more, and as you open up those letters, if there were things that did not get fulfilled, well, if it's still in your heart, I recommend you write it in the next year. Just like I did, over and over. Really, the rowing and the getting things done, those two things I saw more than I could ever. Luckily, I rip up these letters after it's over. But over and over and over again. And yes, there'd be years I would open it up and I would go, it's my fault. I should have tried harder. I should have changed more. I should have had more discipline, blah, 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 blah. Nope, all of those are lies. It's just keeping on, keeping on. That's it. That's it. The only thing we don't have any control over is, well, one of the things we have no control over is the timing of its fulfillment. But its fulfillment is guaranteed. When? You'll discover when. You don't get to say when. In this teaching, we like to say when, but for these big fulfillments of what's in the heart, you don't get to say when. When you're ready, that's when. When you've built the consciousness, that's when. So build the consciousness every step forward, right? And next year, December 31st, 2023, wow, let's have letters that are just filled with, it is done, it is done, it is done, it is done, woohoo! And feel the joy, right? Thomas Troward said, joy is the quality of God that knows it is the cause of its own creation. That's joy. That's what's present in us. All right, so with all that to contemplate, enjoy, have a happy holiday. And Reverend Rich, take us away.
Start sometime. God is my source. God is my power. God created everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
All right, we got it. See, he's got in order. Okay, so this word is being spoken for each one. There's only one life, God's life, and God creates what it wants. There is nothing that is created that the divine has not desired. And so it has created each one in order to bring forth more of its desires into fulfillment, and it has given to each one a sharing of what is in its universal heart, a sharing of its desire to be, to become, to create, to manifest. Each one has been given the invitation to participate in the divine's act of creation. And it is each one's own particular life that he or she is participating in creating. And so each one is aware of the desires within, aware of them, clear about them, allowing them to guide them, to choose what shall be created in their experience. And as a result of this, each one has the full support, power, and backing of the universe in making it so. Each one has and is the complete fulfillment of these divinely implanted desires. It is done. This treatment is finished. I let it go, and so it is. That's the way it is.
And so it is.
All right, so that's it. See you next Sunday. Some of you here do candlelighting. Certainly can participate out there in the world. And that's it. So I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Out there in the world.